Saxon Math 7-6, Jojo and Joel. This is lesson 77. The topic is there's actual sunshine in my video studio this morning, aka my dining room. So I but this is the price we pay for actual sunshine. Today's topic is liquid measure. Okay, you guys probably know more about this than you even realize. We have talked about lengths up till now, right? We've talked about inches, feet, yards, and miles. And we've also talked about centimeters, meters, and kilometers, maybe even some millimeters, which is the babiest one of all. But now we're going to switch and we're going to talk about liquids. And you know these from the grocery store. I'm going to start with the smallest, 1 cup. Anyone who's ever used a recipe in their life, and I know JoJo has, and I bet you $5 Joel has too, you know what a cup is. It's a measuring cup, right? Then comes a pint and a quart. I don't need the ones. I don't know why I'm writing those. Well, I do. And then comes a half gallon. And then comes a full gallon. Now we can work backwards through this list and see the relationships between them. I'm going to skip a half gallon because that's fairly self-explanatory, but 1 gallon equals 4 quarts. You don't have to write this down. I'll tell you where to find it in just a minute. 1/2 gallon, obviously. 1 quart equals 2 pints. 1 pint equals 2 cups. And 1 cup equals 8 ounces, which is a bittier size that we can measure, but we're not really going to talk about. So here are the relationships between them. JoJo, as a person who loves to bake and cook, you might want to memorize these because they come up so often in recipes. This chart is reproduced in your book. Let me show you. Right here. Somebody wrote a bunch of extra notes in mine. But I will tell you that I created mine upside down. I went from smallest to largest. And John's list is the other way. His goes from gallons at the top to cup at the bottom. So that seems weird, but it's the very same information. Okay, now the problems are super straightforward, especially if you use either this table or John's table. It says 1/2 gallon of milk is how many pints? So I'm rewriting this so it looks, honestly, I'm rewriting it so I don't have to put so many words down, but I'm also creating something mathy to me. 1/2 gallon equals how many pints? Okay, so I look at my chart. 1/2 gallon equals 2 quarts. Well, that doesn't get me where I want. But then I see that 1 quart equals 2 pints. So it would be 2 times 2, so that would be 4 pints in a half gallon of milk, and that's the correct answer. So that's one way John can ask you questions about this, and you just reference the table. Either this one if you want to pause the screen on this table and use it, or if you want to copy it, or you can go in your book. It's on page 373, I'll tell you that. And remember, it's just in reverse order from mine, so don't be confused. The other question looks like this. Compare a 12 ounce, 12 ounce pop can of ounces, that's the abbreviation for ounces, remember, compared to a 1 pint container. I never heard of soda coming in a pint container. That's just weird. But obviously we're trying to compare different units and we have to get them all into the same unit. So ounces is smaller. We should be able to do that. Let's look up here and see if we can figure out how many ounces would be in 1 pint. A pint, isn't that a weird word? Pint equals 2 cups. Okay, that gets us smaller, but it doesn't. 1 cup equals 8 ounces. So if we multiply 8 ounces times 2 cups, 8 ounces in 1 cup times 2 cups, then we get, oh gosh, that is hard to read. 8 ounces times 2 cups equals 16 ounces compared to our original 12 ounces, which I'm just copying straight down. And we can see that 16 ounces is larger, so 12 ounces is less than 16 ounces. So the important thing is that if you're trying to compare two units, you have to use the same unit of measure. It's a fancy way of saying that. And I will give you a hint that I think it's easier to go smaller. Right? In this example, ounces is smaller than pints, so we rounded the pints down into ounces. So take the larger unit and make it smaller as a strategy for doing these. That way you avoid fractions. We don't need the fractions. All right, lesson 77, liquid measure, is completed. Thank you, students, for your wonderful attention.